So while terrorists were attacking our servicemen in Kabul yesterday, this is what some of the other leftists were doing around the nation. First, this from the Daily Beast. The headline reads, quote, "The MAGA movement's a bigger threat to America than the Taliban," end quote. And they cleverly blend an image from the Taliban with one from the Capitol riot for maximum effect. The completely unhinged writer, a Karen named David Rothkopf, then goes on to say in his article that MAGA voters pose a bigger threat to our republic than the army that aided and abetted the actual terrorists that took out the World Trade Center. And his proof? Well, Homeland Security says so. Now, I'm betting that if his MAGA neighbor invited him over for a beer versus going and seeing the Taliban, that he would probably go over and have a beer with his red hat wearing neighbor. Just a hunch. But this delusional Karen this is just irresponsible and reckless. He goes on to say that the Capitol riot was a coup attempt, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever read in my life. Apparently, this guy missed the memo from the FBI that said, actually, it wasn't a coup and it wasn't an insurrection and no one was even armed. And it was not even actually really organized at all. It was just some people broke away and had a stupid riot, like everybody knows, except for one very confused Karen named David Rothkopf. So Rothkopf, in one huge swoop, managed to diminish the evil of the Taliban while trying to encourage hysteria against his fellow Americans who happen to disagree with him politically. I mean, this is like the Godwin law of all Godwin laws. This is the dumb hyperbole prize for journalism this year. And I think anyone who wants to actually make this comparison and think it's legitimate, they need to seek professional help. In addition to our media vilifying its own citizens, another reason why America is getting spanked on the international stage is because, well, like this, woke stupidity from our military. So look at this fake virtue that was tweeted out by SMA Michael Grinston as our armed forces were being blown to bits thanks to military leaders like him, their incompetence. Michael tweeted, quote, "Diversity is the number. Do you have people that don't look or think like you in the room? Inclusion is listening and valuing those people. Hashtag Women's Equality Day reminds us we're smarter and more lethal when we come together as an inclusive, cohesive team. Our values demand it," end quote. Is that one of our military leaders or Robin DiAngelo? Really, diversity making us more lethal? I would love for this guy, I would love for this military leader to go and tell the mothers of these service members, these mothers who are now going to have to bury their children, these wives of these service members or the brothers of the service members, sisters, friends. Go and tell, especially the moms, go and tell the moms that, hey, it's Women's Equality Day. Did you do your part? How unbelievably tone deaf. This is why we're making stupid decisions militarily. Because we have pansies up at some of the highest levels of military leadership, all part of that military-industrial complex. Now, the Taliban and ISIS-K, they don't care about stuff like this. And by the way, the military was already one of the most diverse, most equal entities in really not just the United States, but the world. Do you love freedom and do you want to fight for it? Can you fight for it? Okay, come on, let's join up. That's it. That's what makes us lethal. Anything else makes us weak and distracted with stupid things like, well, what gender do you want to pretend to be today? I mean, I can promise you that ISIS does not care about how anyone identifies or how fake diverse somebody wants to be. It turns out ISIS isn't really big on being inclusive, so they're going to happily kill a diverse group of soldiers just the same. But one more reason that we're failing on the battlefield, we seem to have forgotten that thousands of real human lives are on the line. Here's a tweet from just absolute, this is one of the awful, MSNBC's Malcolm Nance on Kabul. The suicide bombing that killed 13 service members, he said, quote, 20 years, FYI, there have been terrorist suicide bombers killing civilians near daily in Afghanistan. This ain't new, it's why we're leaving. And he tweeted this, and he added hashtag deal with it. Again, tell that to the mothers, the fathers, the families of the 13 service members that didn't have to die yesterday. I triple dog dare Malcolm Nance to go say deal with it to any of those families. Go tell him deal with it. The dad we just were talking about last segment, go tell that dad to deal with it, that his son, Kareem, is now never coming home again. Well, at least alive. It's enough to make you think that our leaders and pundits in the media actually loathe us to the point of hate and wish for our failure. We've been through darker times than this as a nation. And we're going to get through all these fools just like we have before. That does it for us tonight. Say a prayer for all those men and women in Afghanistan.